Welcome to On-Screen Academic Writing with Steve Marshall. Lesson 1 is on independent and dependent clauses. So, what is a clause? It's a group of words that make up part of a sentence or a whole sentence. And why do I need to study clauses? You need to know the rules for clauses to make grammatical sentences and to understand the following lessons in on-screen academic writing. Here are two kinds of clauses, independent and dependent. The independent clause, I passed the exam. This stands alone as a sentence. That's why it's called independent. And the dependent clause, despite passing the exam, this does not stand alone as a sentence, and that's why it's called dependent. Now we're going to study the form for independent and dependent clauses. I passed the exam is an independent clause because it stands alone as a complete sentence. I is a subject, passed is the main verb, and the exam is the object. And the dependent clauses, although I passed the exam, which was really difficult. These sentences can't stand alone as complete sentences. Although I passed the exam starts with a subordinator, although. And which was really difficult starts with a relative pronoun, which. To study more on subordinators as linking words, see On-Screen Academic Writing, Lesson 8. And for more on relative clauses, see On-Screen Academic Writing, Lesson 3. Now for the task. Identify the sentences below as independent or dependent clauses. If the sentence is dependent, make it into a complete sentence by adding an independent clause. Let's look at the sentences. Number 1, unless you train harder. 2, although I trained a lot. 3, I trained hard. 4, which was a surprise. 5, I got on the team. And the answers. Number 1, unless you train harder, is a dependent clause. 2, although I trained a lot, is also a dependent clause. 3, I trained hard. This is an independent clause. 4, which was a surprise. This is a dependent clause. And number 5, I got on the team, is an independent clause. And here are some ways to make the dependent clauses complete sentences. 1. Unless you train harder, you won't get on the team. 2. Although I trained a lot, I didn't get picked for the team. 3. I trained hard is a complete sentence. 4. I got on the team, which was a surprise. And number 5, I got on the team, is a complete sentence. Let's look at the lesson summary. Independent clauses have a subject and a verb that agrees with the subject. They stand alone as complete sentences. For example, I got on the team. Dependent clauses cannot stand alone as sentences. Below are two common examples of dependent clauses. Although the weather was good, the clause starts with a subordinator, although. And next, which was really interesting. The clause starts with a relative pronoun, for example, which, that, who, where, when, or why. In this case, the relative pronoun is which. Thank you, that's all for now. If you'd like to see the related videos, On-Screen Academic Writing, Lesson 3, Relative Clauses, or On-Screen Academic Writing, Lesson 8, Linking Words Subordinators, please click on the links.